Raider Nation, stop what you are doing right now, because what has been happening behind the scenes in Henderson over the last few days is not normal off-season noise. This is not the Raiders just filling roster spots on coaching staff. What Klint Kubiak is building right now, piece by piece, hire by hire, is a protective wall around a quarterback who has not even put on a silver and black jersey yet. And when you connect the dots on everything that has dropped this week, it tells you one thing loud and clear. This franchise is not drafting Fernando Mendoza and throwing him to the wolves the way they have done with every other young player at that position. They are building the entire offense around keeping him upright, keeping him comfortable, and giving him every single weapon he needs to succeed from day one. And to be honest with you, as a Raiders fan who has watched this team waste quarterback after quarterback, that alone gives me chills. There are 3 coaching hires happening right now, and when you stack them together, the picture they paint is one of the most encouraging things I have seen in Las Vegas in a very long time. What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. So, let me start with the hire that I think is the most important one on this entire coaching staff. Not the most glamorous, not the one that gets the highlights, but the one that determines whether Fernando Mendoza survives his first NFL season or gets broken before he ever finds his rhythm. I am talking about Rick Dennison, the new offensive line coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, if that name does not immediately mean something to you, let me tell you what 30 years in the National Football League looks like. 4 Super Bowl rings, 14 playoff appearances, 7 seasons as an offensive coordinator. The man has been in this league since before some of our players were born, and he has done it at every level of the offensive coaching tree. And here is the part that matters most right now. He was not hired because he was available. He was not hired because he was a friend of the family. He was hired because he and Klint Kubiak have built something real together, and they are not done building it. Their connection goes all the way back. Dennison was with Gary Kubiak in Denver. He crossed paths with Klint in Minnesota. They were together in New Orleans in 2024 when Kubiak was running that offense. And then last season in Seattle, Dennison was the run game coordinator while Kubiak was the offensive coordinator. These two do not just know each other. They speak the same football language. They share the same obsession with the wide zone running scheme, with establishing the run to open up play action, with using the offensive line as the engine that drives everything else. And here is why that matters so much for Mendoza specifically. You cannot ask a rookie quarterback to go out there and carry the offense on his back every single week. That is a death sentence for development. The pressure mounts, the sacks pile up, the confidence cracks. We watched it happen to Geno Smith last season. 55 sacks. 55. That is not just a bad year. That is a horror show. And a big part of that was coaching. You could watch the games and see the offensive line playing like 5 different people who had never met before. Wrong assignments, missed blocks, one guy going left when everyone else went right. That is not a talent problem alone. That is a coaching problem, and Rick Dennison walks in and fixes that from day one. Think about what he did in Seattle last season. The Seahawks were ranked 28th in the run game the year before Kubiak and Dennison arrived. Last season, they jumped to 10th. 10th. In 1 year. And when they were in Minnesota, Dalvin Cook ran for 3,800 yards over 2 seasons behind their system. The track record is not a rumor. It is documented. It is real. And now look at who is waiting for him on this offensive line. Charles Grant, Caleb Rogers, Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze. Young pieces with real upside who have been coached poorly and developed slowly. If Dennison can get these guys on the same page, running the same schemes, making the same reads on every snap, the transformation could happen faster than anyone expects. And that transformation directly protects Fernando Mendoza. You give a rookie quarterback a clean pocket, a consistent run game to lean on, and play action that defenses actually have to respect, and you give him a chance. You give him clean reads instead of panic throws. You give him confidence instead of scar tissue.
And to be honest with you guys, out of everything Kubiak has done since taking this job, this hire made me feel it the most because it told me he understands that the offensive line is not a supporting role. It is the foundation. You build from the ground up or you build nothing at all. Okay, now let me talk about something that does not always get enough credit in the quarterback conversation, the running back room. And the Raiders just made a hire there that fits this whole picture perfect. Omar Young is the new running backs coach in Las Vegas. And before you scroll past that because it sounds like a small piece of news, let me give you the context that changes how you see it. Young has 17 years of coaching experience. He has worked in the NFL with the Patriots, the Bears, the Packers, and the Browns. Last season, he was at Iowa, where his backfield outrushed opponents in 10 of 13 games, averaging nearly 177 rushing yards per game. And when he was with the Chicago Bears in 2022, he was part of a coaching staff that led the entire league in rushing yards with over 3,000 yards on the ground. The league, not the division, the whole NFL. Now, why does a running back coach matter so much for a rookie quarterback? Because if you watched the Super Bowl this year, you already know the answer. The teams that win the biggest games are not always the teams throwing for 400 yards. They're the teams that can pound the ball, control the clock, and make the defense pay for loading the box. When Ashan Janty gets the ball in space with a run game that is actually working, it does not just move the chains. It keeps Fernando Mendoza in manageable down-and-distance situations. It keeps him out of 3rd and long. It takes the pressure off his arm. It lets him work from a position of strength instead of desperation. And the thing about Janty is that we already know what he can do when he has room to operate. We picked him 6th overall last season for a reason. But last year, that offensive line could not create consistent lanes, and the run game never became what it should have been. With Dennison coaching the line and Young developing that backfield, there was no excuse for the same result. This franchise invested a top 10 pick in a running back. It is time to actually use him the right way. Now here's where the picture really starts to come together, because building an offense around a rookie quarterback is not just about the run game and the line. It's about who's in his ear every single day. Who is teaching him the footwork, the progressions, the reads? Who is sitting in that film room breaking down why he saw it wrong and how to see it right next time? That job, the quarterback's coach job, is maybe the most critical hire this staff will make, and the Raiders are going after it the right way. The name making noise right now is Jordan Traylor, currently the assistant offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. The Raiders have officially requested an interview, and this one has Kubiak's fingerprints all over it. When Kubiak was the offensive coordinator in New Orleans in 2024, Traylor was right there with him as an offensive assistant. These two already have a working relationship. They already know how each other thinks. And here's the layer that makes this even more interesting. The Raiders already hired Andrew Janocko as offensive coordinator. Janocko was the quarterback's coach for the Seattle Seahawks last season, the same season they won the Super Bowl. He followed Kubiak from New Orleans to Seattle. He has been in the room with Kubiak coaching quarterbacks at the highest level in this league. And now, if Traylor comes in as the actual quarterback's coach, you have an entire offensive coaching staff that has lived and breathed quarterback development at every level of the system. Janocko was shaping how quarterbacks see the game from the coordinator chair. Traylor would be doing it in the meeting room every morning. And Kubiak ties it all together from the head coaching seat while also calling the plays himself. That is not a normal setup for a team rebuilding at quarterback. That is a deliberate, structured, layered approach to making sure Fernando Mendoza does not get left alone to figure things out. Every single person around him at the offensive coaching level will have a specific role in his development. So, Raider Nation, this is a new chapter, and it is starting to look like the right people are writing it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you buying in on what Kubiak is building around Mendoza? I want to hear from you.